You didn't know. Did you get the emails? There were email,
I didn't see them.
I don't know, a week ago or whatever.
Good for you, see, I didn't.
He said, no rezone, no new building site, no new parcels.
Spain, it's.
The zoning landowner is in agreement.
Island.
He says,
Yeah, well, the whole in there was a Spain island and a Portugal island, and now I can't.
But let's, but
even-
for the sake of like, let's everybody be in the conversation. Okay.
I'd also have to take.
That ended up-
Right,
That sounded right.
just look at one page, see.
Oh. We saw.
Oh, this is my budget. My budget stuff.
Just something to sign?
I have to look at.
Do we have to initial that?
Page 2.
There's an.
Page 2, sorry.
Initial.
Then you're-
It looks like it.
Okay.
I mean, so the way that it said, the summary is on the first couple pages, 3 pages, whatever it takes, and then the details are on the. In the
My
back.
goodness. He's traveled a long ways. This is from
Like.
the Newberry Park Cemetery Adventist. Newberry
Oh, wow.
Park, California.
Okay.
River area code 918.
You can use ChatGPT to tell you where to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Figure that out, yeah. Oh, do you have your passport?
Oh, yeah, I have
Okay.
to make sure they're current, but I'm pretty sure they. Thank you, thank you.
10 years.
Yeah.
Bills.
Laura, are you gonna want to be in the public comments area? That section, public.
We can ignore you?
Oh, that's not nice.
Gosh.
I did not prepare. I didn't even look at the agenda until I got here.
You're just a glutton for punishment.
I just can't believe there's nobody else here.
That's not midnight.
It was brutal being dark. That was not fun.
All right, everybody ready? Let's do it. So tonight's Oregon Town Board meeting will come to order. Do a roll call, please. Jennifer.
Carl Walter, Lori
I got some
Fitzgerald here,
Here.
Steve Jernigan
I'm here.
and Kate Gladdy here.
Okay, so we have 3 sets of minutes in the packet, October 10th, which is the regular meeting, October 19th, which is the budget meeting, October 26th with the budget plus other miscellaneous items. Did everybody have?
I haven't done it yet.
Does anybody have questions on those agenda? On those minutes?
I did have just a minor comment
Yeah.
on the October 26th meeting.
Sure.
Which is on page 7 of the
Yeah.
packet. And, this is not item number 6.
Yep.
And, the 3rd paragraph. Says Chair Walser and Clerk Hansen meet with Village of Oregon President Phil Van Campen and Administrator Martin Shea to present town proposal of committing to a yearly donation of $60,000, that sentence.
Yeah,
I wondered whether because we want to always, I feel these documents should be clear to everybody. Just specify that's for the senior center. I mean, we understand that, that's what the only donation to the village.
No.
okay, so ask for donation, yearly donation to the senior center.
Yeah, just
Yes.
because
Thank you.
people are, that.
It seems so obvious to me,
Yeah.
but I understand what
That,
exactly.
that
what
was
you're
the
saying.
only thing.
Okay, so add in the words to the
To
senior
the
center
senior
after
center,
donation.
after the $60,000.
Oh, okay, after
To
60,000.
the senior center and for giving 2023 true up credit, because that also the true up credit wouldn't make sense. I mean, now we know it's connected to the senior center donation. I think that helps with.
Yeah. Any other questions on either that agenda? Either that set of minutes or the other 2? Okay, then without objection, we'll approve the October 10th minutes as written, the October 19th. Minutes as written, and the October 26th minutes as amended. Any questions? And so on to item 4, any questions on the financial report or the payment vouchers that are circled around the table? Then without objection, we'll approve the financial report and the payment voucher packet. Item number 5, public comments. Please. No.
I love you.
Is that on the record?
The back.
On to item number 6, but thank you, Laura. Discussion and possible approval. This is a resolution, mostly just paperwork for the most part, of authorizing the 2023 budget amendments for the use of ARPA funds. Jennifer, did you want to talk to any of that? It's
We kind of looked at it, when we had it when we were talking about the budget, we decided to postpone because we didn't have all the game plan costs yet in, and we're still kind of in limbo of having those hooked up, so there may be like another maybe $1,500, is that what we were thinking of, Carl, in possible setup costs for the radios, we just don't have it yet,
right.
because we haven't set them up, so that should be forthcoming.
But the number in here, the 14,500 is the equipment.
Yeah.
Any questions about that resolution?
If that's on page 14.
Yes. Any other discussion at all? We'll need to do a roll call vote on this, and this will have to pass with two-thirds, so 4 out of 5.
Just
All right.
want to clarify your point, Jennifer, about the waiting for the, was it an additional 15,000 that could be needed at, no, we don't.
1,500. 1,500, I think is what we were,
It was,
about 1,000 to 1,500 Carl had set aside in case we needed some help with the setup. of
Okay,
the radios.
gotcha.
it's documented
Yeah.
somewhere. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
we just didn't include it in here because that cost hasn't been realized yet.
okay,
You know,
Alright.
we're not
okay,
there yet,
but it doesn't have to be mentioned here,
Not-
because it may not.
because it
be
may not,
necessary.
we may not need it.
Okay,
Let's hope
all right,
we don't need it.
Okay, any other discussion? If none, I would be looking for a motion.
Move we approve resolution number 06-23. Authorizing 2023 budget amendments.
Do you hear a second?
I'll second it.
And any other discussion? Hearing none. Jennifer, if you would do the honors.
Yep. Carl Welzer,
Aye.
Kate Gladding,
Aye.
Arlen Kai,
Aye.
Steve Jernigan,
Aye.
and Lori Fitzgerald.
hi,
Okay, motion passes. On to item number 7, fire and EMS reports. I can tell you that I do not have anything for Belleville. Steve,
They spent the majority of time again going over their line items, putting in money in certain items, taking money out to make up for areas that they deem necessary. They talk a lot about the Luke Bryant, the success of the Luke Bryant show there. They did collect approximately $35,000 from the town, from the farm tour, so they did well there. It sounds like all the UW medical was provided there was a success. They sound like they pulled this off with very few problems, so. Otherwise, it's too late to tell you that they had a drug take back the next Saturday, so. But that's about it. And that's news tomorrow night.
hey, well,
So we have a few things from Oregon. We talked about hopefully getting in our flyer that goes with their taxes, but it wasn't in time. But the fire chief wanted to just remind people to make sure addresses are visible and the driveways are clear and plowed out. Now, I talked to Stephanie and she thought she'd be able to get it in, but there really was no space and everything was figured out. So there is something that she might put on the website that gives us specifications for the driveways. And it's pretty specific, you know, because it even talks about if there's a lot of snow on the overlying branches, it can affect whether or not the fire trucks can get back there. And Carl, you talked about maybe including some of that in a correspondence that you may have, which would be great.
Does Stephanie have the specifications, like?
Yeah,
Because that's, I would take, I'll get touch.
yeah, she has it. Yeah, she has it. So then the other thing is, you know, they've been looking to replace one of the fire engines, and for quite a while, they've been looking at used ones. And they have one that they're considering. It's a 2005, and they usually don't have one that old, only 5,000 miles. Brand Willie's been looking at it, 270,000. There's money in the budget for it. A brand new one would be 900,000. So they're working hard on trying to keep costs down. So they're still thinking about this one. The other thing, we had a motion and agreed on this. The chief recommended that now for burns, controlled burns, they're only going to do ones for municipalities that ask for it. If people say, can you come and help me? They're gonna say no, mainly because they've had problems that there've been calls. And then all of a sudden, the second call comes and they're watching the fire and for liability. So I said, so what about, you know, is there a bigger chance of problems? Well, there've been a lot of problems with people that have just done it on their own anyway. They give them directions. They tell people that will come and help you with it. So
I'm sorry, Kate, what motion did you guys make?
burning, that they will not just be doing it for anybody in the towns.
But
It will be more for municipalities.
Okay, they will not, so the fire department will not?
Let me read it to you.
Okay, please.
Okay, chief recommends completing municipal burns only and limiting the fire resources not to complete prairie burns for residents of the district. And it's mainly to keep staffing available and lessen the burden and reduce liability.
I really
And
didn't
now
even
I
know
don't
they did
even
it
know
for
how many
residents.
people in our town use it.
You use the fire department?
Right,
I don't know how many.
right. So there might hardly be anybody.
Okay, because we have the Rotary Club of Sun Burns at Lerner Park almost every year for doing the prairie thing. And we asked the fire department if
I
they
think
would,
that would be one that they would consider helping the municipalities.
they don't,
They don't?
they don't.
Okay,
They show up maybe 1 in 5 times.
okay.
So I'm looking at the folks that are burning, you know, out there, the fields or the prairies. Okay, well, if they've got a policy that they're not going to volunteer or not come out if asked, then what?
They're gonna give you all your resources and other resources you can use. You might have to pay someone. They're
Yeah.
gonna tell you precautions. It's gonna be taken care of by them in many, many ways. But you just can't count on them being available to do it.
Yeah, okay. I guess those of us who do haven't counted on them,
Right.
couldn't realize they're,
You know, call the fire department and see.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other discussion was, well, if they get everything done that they need to get done, will they say, okay, well, that is making a problem.
that's,
You know, so they decided no about that.
yeah,
Okay, so then the other thing, there's 5 union paramedics. And they have been negotiating for over 2 years to come up with a contract. And it's been tough negotiations. They're actually, it's the people in Madison that they're dealing with, and some of the ones here are kind of hard to get to go along with it. We went in closed session. We're doing our next meeting instead of the beginning of December, the end of December, hopefully that maybe something will have been decided.
So our 5 paramedics here are part of the union in Greater Madison area. And okay, that makes the negotiation kind of interesting.
It's been very difficult from what I understand.
Yeah, I can see that. Just
Yeah.
logistically, that's.
I mean, I think
Wow.
Wayne and Dina were trying to get it going and they're not, on either board anymore. And now it's Derek Belo and just the fire chief and their attorney and they think they're getting close. And I think there's a few that are just being stinkers about it. And the person that left, that went to Belleville was one of those.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So,
Is there anything, but there's not much we can do. Is there anything we can?
well, if they don't eventually come to something, it could go into arbitration, which would cost $40,000 to $50,000.
Yeah.
That's all my news.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you something about the truck, Kate?
Yeah.
Of the 270,000, what would our portion be? Like half of that? I can't remember what our.
It's already in the budget.
Well, okay,
I mean, if they decide they're gonna get this, they have money that will be available in January to pay for this. It's already been in their 5-year plan and this is how much.
okay, so we've already,
Yeah. So it's not gonna change whatever.
okay. All right, let's go on to item number 8 for the park report and so Steve's last meeting may have happened already. It's this month, correct? No, it hasn't happened yet. It's coming up,
The 27th.
end of the month, right?
Yeah.
So that position will be open. There's already a position open. We need to find some people for the park committee too. So can I ask you a question to everybody? I don't exactly know where the dividing line is between pure park committee work and what turns out to be Abel and Ryan Public Works work. Is it too arbitrary? Is it too random to try to say, okay, the park committee should be doing this type of stuff, these activities, this type of planning for, whether it's scouts participating or whether it's, planning maintenance or whatever it is in the parks versus the actual maintenance itself that Abel and Ryan do. What I don't know is whether Abel or Ryan can plot out what the parks need on a seasonal basis.
Do know in the summertime that Ryan's, there was a problem with him not being able to mow because he was 16. But that was bad information, so he can mow. But at the time, they were told he couldn't, he was too young to. And my
What's his
understanding is
son's
he'll be back next year and he'll be doing a lot of the mowing.
Okay.
And so there'll be a lot of the maintenance at the parks. I think Ryan's son sounds like one of his main jobs is going to be maintenance at the parks. Hold on, okay.
I think there's a difference between sort of planning. What should be done and fixing a broken swing
Mhm.
or slide and recognizing that and fixing it.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
So
but I
the
think
planning
it
versus,
seem like the parks committee should be having a planning function, should it not? Or am I wrong?
I think we're missing a planning function for the parks.
But I think what happens is that we spent a lot of time, and you know this too, we could at least tell Public Works, this is what's needed here, this is what's needed here. How are they even gonna find it unless we have someone giving them direction? And then they get to say, no, I don't have time, do something else. We had some of that when we were doing that mountain bike trail and they wanted some trees cut and no, we don't have time. So then the scouts finally got someone. So there was a lot of planning before it was given to Public Works.
Okay.
I think,
That's my opinion.
I think historically it was like the plan commission had the parks at first, and then the parks kind of started under the plan commission. So I think that planning component was sort of happening, this is years and years going back. It's happening at a plan commission level until then the parks came in. And then what Steve told me is then he said, I don't want to report to the plan commission anymore. I want to report to the town board. And then it became that. So I think that planning component may have kind of gotten in that mix there of who's doing what. Is it the plan commission or is it the park committee?
Right, right. I would have to double check this with Tim, but I think I had a conversation with Tim months ago and he didn't think that the park part of planning should be within the scope of the actual plan commission. So he think, at least at the time, and like I said, I can circle back with him just to confirm, but I'm seeing the park planning outside of the plan commission, you know, on its own. But I think we need to see it somewhere. And the reason I'm even getting to this point is because that may factor into who we're looking for to fill these openings. And I don't know if we do an ad, then we may want to specify certain talents that would help us in the planning part of park planning.
Were we leaning on Steve Root for being that planning leader?
That's sort of before my time, but I think
No,
the answer-
in the past. Or did it just didn't really happen?
I think he had a plan himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was sort of de facto planner for Parksy Committee.
He spent a lot of time
Yeah, he
going all
spent a
around.
tremendous amount of time.
Yeah, he really put in a lot of,
Well, I think one thing that might be missing, and this has really got nothing to do with Steve, is that I'm not sure the board ever defined what it meant by park planning. Because even for me, sitting here right this minute, I'm not entirely sure if that's long-term projection of where parks should be, or if it's just improvement and enhancements to the existing parks. Maybe both, I don't know. And it might be worthwhile to look at some other examples of park plans. Although I think the one that we have one, I don't know if it's a villages maybe, but that's a different scale entirely than what we would ever come across here. So anyway, in the course of getting an ad together, we should probably sort some of that stuff out and say, okay, you know, we're looking for this kind of experience or talent or interest or whatever it is that gets us a little like a step or two toward having a group that can jump into some planning.
If we do have parks, we have some parks in Raven Oak, some parks in our Shield and
Yeah.
Woodbridge area. Do we have anything over on the east side? Where the dead presidents subdivisions are?
in Kennedy Park,
Kennedy Park's huge. They would
Yeah.
like. to do
Okay, so we have
with
something
Kennedy
like-
Park.
right?
Just a thought, I don't know if we're looking for people, or we're looking for some scattered physical
So
representatives that would be aware of the parks in their neighborhood.
You know, you can learn that, I mean, because when I first started, I had no idea, you know, and it took me a while to find them all and to get familiar, so I think to come up with what we would like the chairman qualifications, but I think anybody else from the town that might be willing and interested, we should sure listen to, because it'd be nice to get new people
Yeah,
involved in different things, but the main position would be more important for their qualifications.
you're saying that, and I'm wondering if the chair of the park committee should be one of the board members. Do you think from your time on it, did it seem like it was necessary?
There's
at
a
all?
lot, there can be a lot at times.
Right. When you were there, what was say the most time consuming type of activity?
What Steve did, what the chairman did.
Okay, if that were balanced out, let's say, across the committee or beyond to volunteers, what kind of thing would that be? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it reviewing park conditions? Is it interaction with like scouting organizations?
So he did a lot of interaction with people, and he knew so much about layout when there was water flooding problems. I mean, that must have been what his job was. He
Mhm.
was very qualified in things I would not have been when we had the problems with the flooding in Kennedy Park. I was sure happy that Steve was there and could look at the lay of the land. I mean, that's something that I'm not any good at. So I think that position is important to have someone that's really qualified in many ways. You know, we've talked about a couple people that maybe aren't as interested, but that one person that, what was her name?
Yeah,
You know who I
Yeah,
mean,
I
that had
do,
been on
yeah.
Dane County. She would have been wonderful. I mean, you know, I don't know who here would think would be qualified to be the chairman of that. Certainly not me.
Not me,
Well, remember too, it's
At
just,
this point.
and, the board has tried to make committees not be the chairman, like the plan commission chairman not be a board
Right.
member. So I would say that that's kind of been the leading, is to try to stay away from a person that's on the board being a chairman of another committee.
right,
It's been kind of what the goal was, to try to get away from that.
Yeah.
I can just say that from my time being.
Plus, we'll all be up for reelection one of these days, so who knows? I mean,
Well,
it'd be
that's-
really nice to get some person that really likes to do it, and they're, whoever it is, I'm sure they're out there somewhere.
well, we're not under immense time pressure to fill these, although it's not like we can wait 6 months, because the park committee more or less takes a break through winter. And I forget when it picks up,
Well,
April.
we don't meet because Jeff Nelson is gone and there's not as much happening, but there still were things happening. I mean, we had those people in Raven Oaks that drove their car up there,
Oh, right.
you know, so
Right.
Steve did a good job on that and tore up that whole park, came up there in the yard and. Yeah, so it's a position that I think it'd be a good idea to start trying now to fill the one of the chairman.
I wonder if we do, because the agenda item refers to the advertising for the openings, which I think is a good idea. I wonder if we put just a general ad out there instead of, like, I was talking before about, let's get to specific talents and things, but maybe we don't for this first one. Maybe we just try it, get it out there, see what kind of response we get. And if the response isn't sufficient, then we try again.
I was, I don't know where I heard it, but it was talking about informal neighborhood organizations that had a website or something, and I heard that the Windridge Shield families have some kind of social network. I'm seeing some affirmation of that. Is there a similar kind of thing in Raven Oaks?
It covered, you know, we have a thing, but it's anybody.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying all of a sudden someone does something and they live in Madison or they live there. It's not,
The one for Hillcrest is a Facebook group, like and I think what you're talking about, it's not a Facebook group, it's like Nextdoor.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Raven Oaks
Yeah.
now has got Nextdoor and a Facebook group.
Oh, they do, okay.
So we just started the one that the realtor started.
Well, I mean, whatever it is, I think this is a valuable resource. And if we can tap into that as far as both, we would like your help.
Right.
You know, Ron Parker
Well-
would probably put an ad to all of his members too. And
Yeah.
that would be,
And we said, kind of going back to your comment about maybe it's geographic.
Yeah.
That if we look for, one person to represent each of the 6 or 7 parks, 6 parks, 7 parks, can't remember. One of each of the parks, then that at least brings it home, I think, to people saying, okay, I can help take care of my park instead of some random park that I never go. So maybe
That's what they were doing, I think they were trying that, Kate, yeah.
I mean, as far as the advertising goes, what I mean
Oh,
is saying, we're looking for committee members that live near these parks and list out the parks. It might just give.
well, now we have
more
nobody in Raven Oaks, but
Right.
I will continue just as a resident to check it out. I don't think there was ever, we had, in Town Park, we had a person there and we had a person in Hillcrest, but nobody else specific to any of the other parks.
Right, but we could. We could try.
Hmm.
So I'm just trying to, it's a combination of, let's try to tie a particular person to a particular area, a particular neighborhood or area. And then also to get something in the paper sooner rather than later. Or wherever we advertise.
I don't think it makes any difference where. I think people, hey, this is your park. We all live in this little area.
We
Can
can
you
all
check
use
that one
it.
out a couple of times, even if you don't, because then that's restricting us.
It might make it more difficult to get people,
Yeah.
because we
just-
won't find
Let's see
every,
what, yeah.
Well, it's just a thought, and as long as they're not all just one neighborhood,
Right. Right.
that we try and
Right,
get a little bit
right,
of
see what
diversity. We
happens,
don't, I don't think it'd be mandatory,
Right,
but something that gets,
Mhm.
because the
Some.
sooner we get this, the sooner we can get going on a park plan.
That's true. What about timing to put an ad out there? Like, we're coming up on a week and a half until Thanksgiving, so time in between the holidays, would it be right after?
So the ad is going to be in the Oregon Observer, on our website,
Yeah, wherever we usually
you
put
know, ask Roe Parker.
something, yeah.
I mean, the sooner the better. I mean, whatever. See, maybe nobody will answer and then
I
we'll have
wouldn't
to come up with
start
another
now.
plan.
Start now, you think?
Yeah.
Just get it out there.
Mhm.
Jennifer, how do we usually do ads? Do you want somebody to write it up? Do you
Well,
want?
it's been a long time for a park ad, so I can look at some examples, but if anyone else has any examples or wants, I can run it by Steve, or I can run it by you, I can look for something.
Okay,
But park, I don't think I've ever done park. I think Steve's kind of always just gotten
he
people.
recruited
Mhm.
Okay.
people.
Yeah,
kind of.
so I can say that I don't think I've ever put an ad out for a park person.
okay,
Maybe Steve would help with some ideas.
yeah.
I guess we've got the website. We don't,
Yes,
Yes.
whatever
I
problem.
definitely would like to do that.
Yeah, I think in as many places as we can. we can-
I think that'll be a chance to go over once, and then
Give
we'll
word- word-
I can see how it happens. You know, an ad's great. Do you want a deadline of like, what kind of deadline would you want something? A really long deadline is, do you want,
Well, given
you
that,
want to just,
yeah,
I would think no more than like, I was gonna say 2 weeks, but it's holiday season, so I don't
I was
know.
gonna say because of the holidays, maybe I almost think January first.
Yeah.
And that would give people time to mull it over, or people to reach out and get the word out maybe.
how about January 2nd, because that's when the papers are due for the caucus. Or for nomination.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay,
Sort of along the same schedule.
two,
That's great.
or, I mean, are we gonna do one chairman, one committee member on the same ad?
I think we could.
Okay.
And do you know what the price difference is? This is just an observer question, not anything else. But do you know what the price difference is between getting an ad out of the legal notices way in the back, up into like a display ad in the front somewhere?
I don't know exactly the price difference. I mean, it seems like something in my recollection is when we did that one, maybe to the letter about the senior center, maybe we paid like $100 and some or something along those lines. And normally we've kind of gotten it out of the legal section and put it in more of a box ad, but you can do it either way.
You know, that one, because I don't pay for a subscription, I couldn't see it. I never saw the senior center one. I see other articles that are sent to me and things I can open, but that you couldn't. And, the thing that's free is, Town of Oregon is looking, could it just be a little section and they.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
nothing free.
No,
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, kind of like,
The legals, we can put it in for less expensive.
no, but I mean, like if someone was writing just this newsy thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's a news release.
Yeah, we don't want to, well,
That I do. Nothing's free that I can put in. And you can put a letter to the editor, but then it's their choice to publish
I
or not.
wouldn't.
That's free.
I would not do anything free. Because they'll edit it or
Well, then
not
you gotta
run
take
it.
the chance of nobody seeing it where it was put the last time.
Well, that's what I'm saying is let's not put it there. Let's find out how much it costs.
It's a box ad. So if she can't open the box ad, I don't
Yeah.
know. The letter to the senior editor, senior center, we paid and it was a box ad.
Right.
I don't know why she couldn't open it though. And I don't know.
Because I don't have the e-edition where you can go through and look at each page. You can only pick, I want to read this article, and this one that you brought me, that was only available like today. So yeah, you can't unless
Yeah.
you pay for the e-edition. You can't page through and
I
see.
think we'll probably have to make a decision based on the ad being visible in the paper.
Right.
Which is not a big deal. There's probably the circulation of the paper isn't huge anyway.
Right.
But it's gonna be bigger than the number of people viewing their e-edition. So I think we just base it based on the.
And our website.
Right, which probably we could do on, when we open up the website, that right away flashes to a need for, have some flashing for,
Right.
looking at park chair, whatever, and something that's eye catching right away.
So January 2nd, park chairman
That is
or park chairperson, a park member, publish it as a box set in the Oregon Observer and post it on the website.
The only thing in question is, do they call display ads?
Box
Box.
ad. That's display ad, box ad's the same thing.
Okay,
The other one term would be like legal.
right, right.
Are there other positions that we're looking for? Besides parks?
I don't
Maybe,
think
but we
so.
don't know right now.
I don't think so.
I mean,
Not based on-
you've got a bit of a news article. In just Steve, longtime
Right,
chair is retiring, so I'm not quite sure why. That itself couldn't be
exactly. I agree with you.
a news,
Yeah,
newsworthy,
yeah.
and if we buy a box ad too. We have to,
I think, for sure, I think we could do both,
yeah,
but I wouldn't rely on just an article, is that-
No,
that's what I'm
that's
saying,
fine.
because we don't control it.
Mhm.
Somebody gonna write the article then? And submit it?
who's the wordsmith?
Well, couldn't we ask the Observer to do an article about Steve?
Oh, I've never done that. Kate, have you ever asked them to do an article?
No, but that would be a good
I
idea.
think, I think they usually would like to have. As much facts ahead of time.
Well, yeah, but they could still write the article.
You know, I know
Yeah,
that
you could-
Steve said something that his daughter wanted to do something for recognition. And he wasn't real comfortable about that, but I still think something should happen like
It's
that.
something
Well,
should
I think
happen.
someone putting in all that service for so long, and the Observer is not just the village and the swimming team,
Right.
you know. It's for the whole community. I don't know if I think they even, don't they have a place in the Observer where they solicit ideas for articles?
Oh, they're doing an article on Steve.
They are. Oh, good.
Yep,
Who's really what?
they're doing an article on Steve.
Who is?
The Observer.
Yeah.
They are.
Okay, what just happened in the last? 2 months?
Stephanie just texted her over.
Yeah. It's magic. I just know. That was
Technology.
Yeah,
We're on speaker.
so, hi, Stephanie.
Okay, so then what we want to do is if there is at least a request to do an article, is try to get the timing so that whenever that hits, we might also have an ad that time, unless we separate those two things.
It
into
can be
two.
It's impossible to be replaced. Our own Steve Root, impossible. But
We're
looking-
coming to the town hall on Tuesday to interview him.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I would be, then let's look at placing the ad. We're gonna need some time to get it together, so.
I think you may have a deadline, maybe pushing itself to mid-January. Yeah, just for the holidays and.
It's looking, it's a little, I'm not gonna be here next week, so then you're looking at the following week. The 7th, the 14th, and then is, you know, getting a little,
Yeah.
getting a little hairy.
There's the general public mind numbing that happens with the start of deer season,
That's true too.
which happens to be Thanksgiving, which happens to be.
Right.
Okay, so our next board meeting would be February 13th. What if we tried for like people to have it back by like Monday, February 5th or Thursday, February 8th, something, maybe more like February 1st, and then I could get those all together and then they'd be available for your board meeting on. So if we just change that to a February 1st deadline?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that way then all that they could be in the packet. And then we could be putting something in the paper in January, which might get them a little bit out of the holiday season.
So you have a
Sounds-
journalist in your pocket
I
to
have-
write the article?
There's
No,
no
no, I-
article being written by us. They're gonna do an article. The Observer is doing an article. They're coming here on Tuesday.
Yeah, so we
They
can,
are.
we can do the ad, so the ad's not gonna be that difficult. I mean, it'll be, we're not gonna do it's not gonna be a position description or anything like that. It's just, you know,
Mhm.
bullet points really. And then if we're putting an ad in January, we should probably at least have a draft to look at at the December meeting. Although it will not take this long. It just will not take that long to do 2 paragraphs. So I can take a kick at it, unless anybody else wants to take it away.
We have Robin Potter, I think that's who it is watching. Maybe she'd like a position. She used to be on the park committee.
Okay, so I'll try a draft and I'll run it by everybody before we need to get it off to the observer. Okay, anything else on that park report item? Okay, item number 9 is town disposal site, town of Oregon refuse site, correct? That's what we're doing to keep this order.
Yeah, didn't we come up with yet another? Was refuse.
Refuse site, yeah.
Yeah, because we could keep the TORC, yeah, that was very clever. Yeah. The item that's listed is the 2024 fee schedule. And there was a hope of getting our hands on, at one time, I believe that the military had on their website a fee schedule for if residents wanted to call and say, can you pick up my mattress? We were not able to find one. Yeah, you said something about giving them a call, but
I forgot.
and I meant to look on the website again this afternoon, but I got distracted. But anyway, this is kind of an ongoing discussion about the pricing. Right now, I showed this to Sheldon and asked him and the other staff members what they thought about it. And just stepping back a little bit, they've gotten very, very busy the last couple of weeks. It's been very popular, and many residents have stopped and thanked the staff for the extended hours.
Okay.
So it really seems like this extended hour idea in the fall is a winner. And we surmised that maybe it took a while for people to all get the word about it. But that would be something to consider, just automatically saying October, November, we would be open longer hours on Saturday. But then on the flip side of that, I think this came up and there was an email Jennifer sent this afternoon. What about the idea of opening every other Saturday from Jan 1 to April 1? And just having every other Saturday, that's just, throwing, all along the lines of examining cost and breaking even and how we can keep this going. So that was one of the ideas, every other Saturday, January 1 to April 1, extended hours in the fall. What we do when we open up in April, that's still to be decided, what kind of hours may be reasonable. Then back to the pricing schedule on the fee schedule, which I think is in our packet. I think we have the preliminary, I should have had the page 16. If you want to take a look at that page 16. Sheldon suggested that maybe the only prices he thinks we might be able to have a little cushion on would be to add $3 to those big items. And the $21 items would be 24, and the $30 height bed could be 33. If we were wanting to bring in more revenue from week to week for offering that open dumpster.
Right.
And then there was a bit of I don't know if we call it a crisis, but some questions arose about the open top dumpster has been overflowing, and I guess it was full last Saturday, and that I think it was pretty full. And then this last weekend, Abel and Ryan were concerned because there was stuff on the ground and the thing was overflowing. And so I was asked to kind of update the board, kind of how they operate down there. So First of all, the stuff on the ground, like couches and things. I was told to let you know that. What they typically do is they wait till the new dumpster comes and then they break those items down so that they're not as bulky as they look when they're sitting on the ground, and Ryan and Abel go, whoa, what's happening here? So they always try to break things down. That's what they like to do. And they also have a little back stock of extra 30-gallon garbage bins that they use to fill that stuff while they're waiting for the new open top to come. So they do have a way of handling those overages that occur. But it is true, and I think it's related to the fact that they had so much business the last 2 weeks, that they had an awful lot of drop off of big items along with brush. And there was initially there was the idea that they only took in $213 for that whole open top. Well, they actually took in about 200 something each weekend. So they actually took in about $400 for that one open top dumpster. But I mean, just to let you know that this is what we're dealing with, trying to decide if we can really keep that particular service going. And then they always, an idea that comes up that's not very popular is if this is not gonna help us more or less break even to raise those prices for big items a little bit, then what about a permit for brush? Could just be like a dog license, not terribly pricey, but then collect a little revenue for access to the brush pile. But then always it comes back to it. Then at what point will people be discouraged and not bother to bring their brush and just burn it themselves or whatever they do, or let it rot in their fields, whatever. So those are some of the issues that we have to keep talking about as we proceed with this idea of keeping that service available for people. So that's what I know. The decision about raising the prices, I think it would be helpful to find out what Terry charges.
I can tell you.
Oh, you've got it.
Okay, so the white good without refrigerants in 2023 is $53.
Oh,
A
wow.
white good with refrigerants is $63.
Mm.
Car tire without rim is 26.
Oh,
Truck
man.
tire without rim is 30.
Oh, my gosh.
Additional refuge per cubic yard is $21. Additional 30-gallon bag of either refuge or recycling is $3. Construction and demolition waste per cubic yard is 29. Furniture, fixture, other is 39. Electronics, computers are 50. Cart swap out fee, oh, that's 45. Okay, and then an additional cart per year is $99, trash recycling. And those are going up about $1.24.
You said construction waste. I thought that was one of the things that they did not allow.
It seems like if you call ahead and ask for a special pickup, they would do it per cubic yard, $29 per cubic yard, and then $30.24.
Now, these costs you're quoting are if you're dealing directly with Pelletary. It's not somebody who-
To be paying Pelletary.
And they are driving to your home to
Right.
pick it up. And so theoretically, we continue to have this where people haul it themselves. It should be much less than what Pelletary charges, but by the same token, if they're, what did you say for hard, $50, $60
For what?
for the white goods?
So like if you were talking furniture,
Yeah,
fixtures, it's 39. So I would say if it's a couch, it would be 39.
yeah, and we're charging 21 per piece though, each piece.
Yeah, it looks like this one
21.
is 39.
So it's almost double.
Well, I wouldn't be too eager to be trying
And
to
fully
undersell, underprice
No,
Pelletary because
no, I'm saying it should be less than that,
I don't know that it should.
you know.
Because if I have a couch and I'm going to have it set up by my mailbox
Mhm.
for the next 3
For a
weeks,
month.
waiting for a month, waiting for Pelletary to come. Versus I know Saturday I can take
Get
it
rid
down.
of it. Right. So the convenience of getting rid of it quickly is worth paying about what you'd pay
And
Pelletary.
why do you think it would be a month? Did somebody say that?
Oh, I
Volunteer to come get it?
I don't know, I think it is.
No, I'm sorry.
Wait, you tell me, but we've used their services for that and they're good too.
They're great.
I think it's the next week at the
Yeah.
latest.
So the other option you guys talked about last time was the annual cleanup event.
Right.
There is a provision in the contract that the contractor will provide bulk pickup twice a year to the town at a cost of $135 per truck hour and $56 per ton. So it's subject to raise, and that proposal was a 2022 rate. So, you know, if you ever considered doing away with the dumpster every weekend, you could go through like a twice annual thing and have that be more of something that you could take. Just on a.
It's very popular in every community.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hugely popular.
That would be another option that they're giving you, in addition to, you know, if somebody wants to get rid of it right away, they'd have the option to pay for that curbside fee.
So this is, it seems this is something we have to just continue to examine as we go forward to see, and we're still in early days where figuring out what the actual demand is kind of tricky, especially given that the hours changed and it took a couple weeks for people to get the word that we were open later and so forth.
Well, I was down there putting my thing into the open dumpster down there, talked to Sheldon.
Mhm.
And I was very impressed with the count that he had, that the sort of the standard Saturday was 44 deliveries,
Vehicles.
and that with the brush time, it's up to 66,
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
86 cars on November 4th and 66th on the 11th.
Yeah, so it's
good.
busy, and I'm not, I would say we continue with our plan of having our year of experiment and data gathering before we start adjusting hours.
It's good to watch this, though. It's good to watch. these-
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I mean, if Pelletier is the market, you know,
Mhm.
where are we in the market? then,
Mhm.
if we
Yeah.
price?
But
So are we gonna change some of these prices like they recommended?
well,
for
I
some of
don't
these?
know.
We can-
It's just a suggestion.
We can-
I'm gonna have it for next month to vote on.
Okay.
So which ones do you want to amend? I mean, well, we can either talk about the torque ones now. Because I had it on the agenda to talk about the torque, and then I have the other ones to talk about later on the agenda.
Question, when is the last time these prices were typed? I mean,
Chat every year.
okay, but have these been, I have no idea, have these
No.
been stagnant for years or have they changed? Does it go up every year? or-
It hasn't gone up every year, but it did go up last year.
We
because-
started to
Yeah.
adjust it last year. The only suggestion that I was able to get out of Sheldon was to raise $3 on most of the larger items. If what would, the tires, that always comes back to that. What's the right price for the tires? And Jennifer quoted a rather high price compared to our price for picking up a tire with a rim, right,
It
Jennifer?
was without rims.
One's with, one's without. so
Yeah,
let-
we
let me tell
don't
you
like
that.
rims. We like to not take rims. We have to charge more for rims too.
Truck tire without rim is 26, truck tire, or car rim with, car tire without rim is 26, truck tire without rim is 31.
They won't, no.
So
they won't.
our tire up to 20, they were talking $6 and they're charging 26.
Yeah,
That would be, let's catch up.
and then there was also a debate about what does Farm and Fleet charge?
A what?
Farm and Fleet. And we were in Monroe and we asked them what they charged in Monroe and $3. But Greg, this is hearsay, someone he heard that around here, they get a lot more. Like in Madison, I don't remember the amount though, but it was a lot, it was significantly more than 6. So this whole truck tire thing is.
But if you're getting your
complex.
tires from Farm Fleet, then they just.
And I think that's what most people
Right.
do.
Right.
And so that's why this is such a tricky thing in a way for us to figure out how to price, because when most people do that, they get a whole new set of tires and they're
Right.
taken care of. Yeah.
I mean, I can see the last invoice, okay, so this, I'm gonna tell you the last invoice, Liberty Tires, who takes our tires. It's all over the board, an agricultural tire is $5. a car tire off each rim. Now, let me tell you the date of this. Is this 22? I picked it up. 22. So we had 5 agricultural, 40 car tires off rim were $3.02, $3.20. On rim, they're $5.20. You got an environmental fee, of course, in there for each tire of $1. Go-kart tires, 26 of them, $3.50. Lawn tires, $2.50, all over. Commercial tires, $12. Light truck, $4.40. Motorcycle, $2.25. I don't even know how to say that word, tire, is $9.
This is what they're charging for you to drop off a tire to them?
This is come to pick them up at the torque. So our bill was about $1,200. They have fuel surcharge. The most expensive one was when they picked up a truck tire on rim, it was $25. They had some for 23, truck tire on rim was 23. We had 3 of those. We had 10 truck tires off rim, and those ones were 20. So they range anywhere from $2.50, $2.25 to $25 a tire. So I don't know I don't know how you decide which tire you're getting, so. Take an average.
So these are people that come and clean out our
And then,
supply?
Yeah,
but it's almost like they evaluate each tire
Yeah.
on its own merits.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that exactly sounds like that. I'm not sure that the guys at the Torque are gonna wanna do, I mean,
No,
here's a
that's
list of 50 different possible tire configurations, like,
you need a
nobody's
specialist.
gonna do that. Nobody wants to do that.
You know, one of the things about our torque thing, the tires, there are people that are always looking for tires that aren't in too bad shape. So we do have a certain amount of people who save us the fee because they take tires. Cause they, they've got, there's a tractor tire there that's better than the one they have, so they take it home. So that's always been a part of that whole wheeling and dealing down there with the. I mean, we there are a lot of tires we didn't have to pay to dispose, let me just say. And we still charged we charged someone, but then we didn't have to pay to have it taken away.
Shipping and handling, yeah.
That's right, that's right. So what do you propose that we try to, you wanted to get these decided on soon, right?
I mean, I was thinking I could start, if you guys decided, then I would put together like the final draft for approval next.
Yes.
And then we could maybe confer a little more with the guys about raising those prices. Sheldon thought that the $3, people would be okay with that. If we raised it really dramatically, that wouldn't be a happy situation.
Right.
But we would be getting a little more if we added $3 to those, and then the tires, maybe we should look at.
$3 to what?
For
Good
the stoves, the couch, the
Oh.
height bed. We have a lot of items that are $21
Can we
now.
move the 21s to 25?
That's what I was gonna say.
Still take more here.
Yeah, let's do that.
You took all the 21s and raised them to 25, and then what if you took the $6 ones and raised them to 10?
Yeah,
That would generally be good. I mean, if you look at everything here is divisible by 3, so it's how, it was 7 punches or 1 punch or 2 punch or.
But we're not using the punch cards
Right, that's,
anymore.
and I think that's.
I mean, we still have, they're still coming in.
Yeah.
That's another thing that when you look at the cash we get, there's still people who use their old punch cards. So there is some revenue there that's not showing up because that's been prepaid.
So if we changed it, would it look something more like a little bit to make it more easier, like fluorescent bulbs do 5, then
Yeah.
25, leave it at 30, 25, 10, 25, 10, and then 15?
yeah, I think just rounding to the next.
Yeah,
next spot.
Yes, okay.
So we'll need to approve this next month.
Right,
This part of
Yeah,
it.
Okay.
that sounds like a
And
good
then
idea.
just, we would look, we would ask Sheldon and to look it over.
I'll run this
Okay.
by him, and he likes to discuss that with the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Greg and Mike too.
Yeah.
So they have-
And I do, and they're also they're doing well, how much we gonna charge you? They're,
Right.
they're looking at that and say, that's $9.
Yeah,
And then
They don't have to do that anymore.
just let them,
yeah, that's true.
Which is fine, because we're not gonna, I mean, we can't sit here and get to a perfect.
no, this is a proxy.
This is good.
This would
Not
be,
yours.
this would be like it, this would be a decent increase, but not.
Yeah.
Over the top.
Okay, anything else on this agenda?
Which the fee,
The sport, okay, is done. So, okay, next is item number 10. planning commission.
but you, that's 9A is that fee schedule, that's more than work.
I have the, I was gonna discuss it later in the agenda, the rest of the court fees, under, 15, agenda item 15.
Okay.
Because I think- Okay, number 10, plan commission reports, and we've got two. Let me go back, so, 10B, we're really not gonna do anything about tonight, correct, Jennifer? That's pending. No?
To make sure I included that in there for you guys, because Jerry stopped in and he said that he's not ready yet he's still waiting to get, he has to finish out the developer's agreement. He has to have the cost of putting in the road, and his road builder needs to get him those costs, and he just doesn't have it yet. I think they might, even be in Florida, they might, so. I just wanted to update everyone that he's in the works, but he's just not this. And I don't think next month.
Okay.
Possibly January.
Okay, so then the 10A is about this lot line adjustment, and Harlan had things to talk about there. Do you want to jump into that?
If you're looking at, this is out at the Brooklyn International Airport. I'm sure they sometimes hunters go up to Canada. But we do have an airport there, and this little road transfer is incorporating a primary driveway into the airport. So I'm looking at, there's a bunch of other little funky issues from maintenance and fire protection, and who owns what to whom and who's doing what. Is one of the easements in here, and I don't quite understand what the purpose of this transfer is, but just because it's not a farm field, it is something that's fairly heavily used. And they're pulling out the primary access to the airport in this creation of this new, or moving up the lot line. So I think this is something that should be reviewed by the plan commission.
Yeah. There's no application for this. I just want to make that clear. There's no application process, and that the county is the one that will record a CSI. So they look at this, they make sure it meets all the requirements. We don't really have, so I guess, Arlen, what I'm asking you is what sort of authority, you can have them look at it, but what kind of authority are we going to have at this? Because CSMs are not, moving lot lines do not need town board or plan commission approval. If there's no rezone, if there's nothing, I mean, unless you can say, yes, you need to do it because of this reason, but in this case, there's a house and they don't want the house to be part of it. So what they're doing is they're basically taking the house out of the mix of it because they don't want the house to go with when they sell the airport.
That's fine.
Right, so, and there's no
That's
reason.
that's their intent,
Yes,
but most CSMs still come to the plan commission.
if you want them to come, then that's gonna have to be a change. Lot line adjustments have never come to the plan commission
This is
before.
CSM.
This is a CSM, right, but it's a lot line adjustment, which is a CSM, but it's not, there's not a, if you wanted to, I think that we just have to change our policy. It hasn't in the past. I can tell you, I've been here a long time and it hasn't come to the plan commission.
Every CSM,
It has not. not a lot line adjustment on a
But
CSM.
this is
Yeah, it's a lot line
this is
adjustment on
more
a
than, this
CSM.
is more than,
It's a lot line adjustment. There's no,
this is not a CSM?
it's CSM because it's a lot line adjustment, but there's no rezone with it.
Oh, that's fine.
So, so in the past, they've never come to the plan commission before. And, in fact, at the county, they're just staff approval. If you want to see, you can. I mean, but I guess I would just say to you is that, you know, I sent out emails and they had gone around, so I think that we just need to make that clear. And I was trying to make it clear before it went on to this agenda that it was not going to be, because I then wanted to let the applicant know.
And Tim and I responded to those emails a couple weeks ago and did not think that it had to go to the plan commission. Now, I'm not presenting myself as an expert on all things zoning at all. So if there is a legitimate reason why it should go to the plan commission, then we should do it. But if we don't have to do it, then it
Well,
seems,
If we're obviously not, if there is no zoning change.
There's not a zoning change.
no, there's no
That-
zoning.
that-
There's no
that's-
building,
That says no.
right?
I'm looking at a CSM, which is usually brought forward. You say that no lot line change or
Lot line.
It is a lot.
it's a lot line change, but it's changing, who's getting the right now, the stuff that's being presented here is that it's creating a new lot.
No, we're just moving the lots.
From where to where? That's unclear. And I have. On page 1, there is this L-shaped lot. And then on page 2, there's a chunk taken out of that L shape.
I mean, what they're doing is they're making that lot 1, which was
Yeah.
a little bit. They're making it bigger, so no land is being lost between lot 2 and lot 1. They're
But
just
they
making it-
would have 2 lots instead of 1.
No,
No,
there's
they're
2
already
lots
two.
right now.
Where are the 2 lots? Where are the 2 lots?
Not one, it's really-
I see only a lot 1. Identified there. And I don't see a lot 2. So I'm under the rash assumption that lot 1 is that whole L-shaped piece. Help me out here. Oh, there, you're getting close, getting close. Here we go.
Here we are. Okay. So this right here is what you would be looking at as being lot 1, essentially, okay? This is what it looks like right now, okay? So this is,
Tax parcel.
right, this is lot going to be part of lot 2,
Okay.
right? Right,
How do I know the difference between a lot and a tax parcel? Because that whole L-shaped piece, that little, where you have the arrow there,
yeah.
that's another tax parcel, but that's still part of the,
Well,
L shape.
parcels are based upon, the county will create the tax parcels, right? Because they're based on,
and not necessarily a lot.
exactly, they're gonna create a tax parcel.
And there they're doing it, looks like 40-acre chunks plus a little thingies.
So it looks like, however the county will do this, this is all becoming, this right here is becoming part of this lot 2. So these people don't want, the people that are buying it, okay, right now, this person owns it all. This person who owns the house, he owns all. the people that are buying this don't want the house. So they're selling the house with the driveway and they're adding a little bit onto the back side of the house. And then the rest of the property is going to be owned by someone else. So there'll be two separate owners. So what they're doing is they're adjusting the lot line so that someone can buy the house with the driveway and someone else can have the rest of the land.
So they're creating two lots out of one.
The lots already
Oh,
exist.
yeah.
They're just putting
And
it on
that's
the map.
that's the part that's not clear here.
Mhm.
It's
I
not,
guess I'm clear on it, but I don't understand what's not clear. about it.
okay, well, if we don't have authority on this. That's one thing, that is just funky enough. That seems like,
If you were gonna deny it, what would be your reason to deny it? I mean, like, that's what I guess I'm wondering.
I don't know that necessarily denying it, but there may be conditions.
And what would be, like, what do we have in our plan that would allow us to put conditions on? When they're not,
Driveway, fire access
but they already have an existing driveway.
to that house.
Yep, and they're not, the house.
And
will
Do we,
still
do we
that
have, do
existing
we
driveway.
have a full easement with all the little pull-offs on the way back to the airport garages?
I don't think our ordinance allows us to have all existing driveways are grandfathered in. We cannot require any previous driveways to come up to code.
Unless something changes.
I don't know that it says it in our ordinance like that. I don't know.
Oh, well, that's
I
that's,
looked at that and I don't know that it says that.
I've had to deal with that too many times
Yeah,
in the past to say that, to believe that it's not there.
I would say it's not there because we have talked about it, wanting to put it there, but I don't think it's there
Okay.
right now.
And since we're co-zoning with Dane County,
And the Dane County's looked at this. I know that. Because I've
do
talked
we
to them
have,
about
do we
that.
have the report on that?
I don't have the report yet, no, but they have looked at this. I would say what I would, if you're uncomfortable, then by all means, he was supposed to be here tonight and he's not, so I have no problem. I thought he would be here to answer some questions, but he's not, so.
Harlan, when is the next plan commission meeting? Is there still one in November?
I have a
December?
feeling they're debating whether there's even going to be one. Let's see, do we have one in November?
I can ask Stephanie if she has something on the calendar. I don't know if they have.
I-
Stephanie, do you know if you have anything on the calendar that's for sure for November?
We do not yet. That Rivera one
Yeah,
hasn't come through. And we should have known by probably tomorrow, if that was gonna come through, that would even be an agenda item. So at this point, we had no agenda items.
Well, I do have it down here that it's scheduled for the 21st, but we said we don't have any agenda items. We don't have any.
But if you want to talk about this, then that would,
Yep, that could be an agenda item that we would have a meeting for if that's necessary. Yep.
Also. It's up to you. But how about, since there's enough uncertainty in this, let's push it to the plan commission for this month.
Stephanie, do you see a problem with having that? I know you probably haven't gotten an agenda out, but I'm gonna be off next week. Do you have any problem?
No, I just have to have the agenda out by Friday of this week in order to hold one for next week, so. I know only one person for sure that's not gonna be there, so I believe we would still have a quorum, but
You want to do that?
I would think we should.
To let the person, the engineer know that, that it will be on the 21st.
And then we'll postpone this item until we hear back from the plan commission.
And if it can be No, and we at least have, there be some clarity if we do not have authority. Love to know that. If we do have authority, love to know that.
Sounds good. Okay, let's move on. Unless any other comments on that? Let's move on to item 11, senior center report. And we're talking about, oh, an update on the contribution. In somewhere.
There's a few. Better fun. It's on 29. Is that what you're looking?
Yeah.
From Martin?
So we met with Martin and Phil. Proposed the $60,000 a year with some other pieces of the negotiation. And then we will get something to approve from Martin probably for the December meeting, I think is what he said, unless it's end of the year, I can't remember. But we'll get something from the village on the actual agreement itself that we'll need to execute, approve it to you. So
At the end of the
so
year, sometime in January, he said.
okay. So that went well. And it was funny because it's really like Kate and Jennifer worked on it 2 years ago, and it's the same number as
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
But everybody was okay with it. That's senior center report. Number 12, the road and traffic safety committee report. We've got two things to talk about.
Not much different from the last one. We're getting more information on the Marie Road work. We had some wonderful conversation or email conversation with TJ Engineering. JT Engineering, most helpful. They're being most generous with their expertise there, without getting us into a contract for advising. So we're moving forward. It will be work that will be done in 2024. So it's a combination of getting both the sluice way large rocks in it, as well as getting bids for taking out the culvert and replacing it.
Mhm.
So
Have we got from anybody a sense of the urgency behind at least the concrete repairs?
I want to say that when when Doug talked to me, and maybe he said in his memo, he thought not doing the concrete, he thought waiting, doing the culvert and then doing the concrete
Oh,
after was what he suggested, but I know that you all felt that it was something immediate, but he did not think that the culvert was imminent.
okay. So my feeling on the emergency nature of this is, I think, two parts. One is it's dangerous that some kid like walks off the road and it falls into the crevice. That's not a good thing. And then the second thing is a possible road collapse would be very, very bad. And I have no idea what it looks like underneath the pavement of Marie. But if I totally defer to, a Doug or somebody else who says, nope, it's not urgent at this point. I still think even if we don't do any work there, we should somehow fence it off again, try to fence it off or on the one side of the road, it's really pretty.
are we going to be attracting?
Well, that was, one of the neighbors said that. Must have been earlier in the year when Abel and or Ryan were out there and put up some kind of fence,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
it still seems like we should be having this as early in 2024, no matter what. So in some respect, in public works, that's pretty immediate.
Right.
I guess if we have them put a fence around to retard people from getting into the canyons and the areas that are immediately around there, that doesn't seem like a bad solution. Shall we? It seems like a good suggestion.
Yeah, I'm all for it. But I also understand that the one neighbor took down, I don't know what kind of fence it was. It could have just been, You know, it could have been tape or
It
something. I
could
don't know what it
have been a
was.
barricade in front, on the street.
So I don't, I mean, it's definitely a problem. It's definitely a hazard. For us to not do anything seems like the
Yeah.
wrong
Mhm.
approach. And I wouldn't be sad if we did the construction before the end of the year, but I don't know that that's even
I don't think
possible.
that, I don't
I'm sure
think
it's
that's
not.
possible to
I'm
get it
sure it's
bid
not.
and,
No, I know. I'm
and beat
sure it's
frost.
not. But we could get to solicit bids as soon as
Yes.
possible.
We should
And
be,
figure out some kind of a fence. Now, who can help us with that? Because it's kind of an odd spot to put one.
It is a strange spot, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's back off the road, and
Right,
it's a
right.
weird shape, and so I don't know who, maybe Abel. or
Yeah, they
Ryan
have some
would know.
suggestions or
Yeah.
people we could call and ask about it and.
do we have the contact information of the neighbors that are immediately around there that is?
I don't, I mean, we could find the names, but I don't have their telephone number.
I think if we got one, we could get all
Yeah.
four.
So if the work is under 25,000 and some of these culvert and pipe, you wouldn't necessarily have to bid it. Just-
But we're looking at something that's in the
Yeah.
50s
Then you
plus.
would. So it depends on what you're all doing. I was just looking at what he had in his memo.
Well,
Yeah.
just the rocks and the culvert was less than 25. That could, the rocks and the sluice way, the drainage way, that's less than 25. That could be done immediately. Well, here, let's get, we're kind of in a circle here. We
Mhm.
don't, we're running out of weather.
Right.
We do have enough weather to do some things. I think we have to rely on Abel and Ryan to be saying this is something they can do this fall, should do this fall. JT was saying, do it together.
He said to me, he thought you should replace the culvert and then take care of the concrete.
Yeah.
I think obviously, I think Abel should give Doug a call.
I'm sorry?
Abel should give Doug a call
Yeah,
and get that squared away.
And should that be Abel or Abel as part of the road committee?
I think right now Abel's Public Works. And I think he's got a direct responsibility here. There's a general thing from Road and Safety that says this has got to be done, just how, they're not into the logistics. Public Works is into the logistics. I think we should tap into, or we'll say, how fast can we? Or what can they do now? Option is a protective fence. Getting our bids out ASAP.
So,
But does he have clear guidance?
so if you read his memo, you can read bullet point 1. I would suggest replacing the pipe and then completing the flume work with slope restoration. So he's saying replace the culvert and then completing the flume, which is the concrete part. And then you go on, he's concerned about what's meant by the 3/6 of clear stone. My recommendation would be for you to use fabric underlayment that wraps under both. High volumes have led to the current issue. You would want to ensure that doesn't happen. When replacing the pavement, an effort should be made to create a swale in the location of the new riprap, so it channels the water into the middle of the riprap. I can discuss time comes with Abel or whoever's doing the work. So then he gave you a standard. So I think what he's saying is you're putting it in, what I'm getting from that, you're putting in the culvert, and then where it's going into, you're gonna then design that as you put in the culvert. So if you do that work, he's saying you might have to do it over again because.
Yeah, well, you're still draining stuff off of the road into that flume
Yeah.
on the side.
This is on page 30, by the way. in the
Yeah.
packet.
So let's figure out a fence and let Abel talk to Doug and go from there.
Okay, it would seem like authority, we have a public works director. We should be
Mhm,
talking to Mr. Sano,
Tina?
Cena,
Let's see.
about getting this moving this forward
In the right order.
in the right order.
And so we'll And then probably able to, we'll figure out a fence option.
Yeah.
So let's do that. I think we're all in agreement on that.
Mhm.
Okay,
I can tell you, they put like caution tape around that Kennedy Park slide, and I can't tell you how many phone calls I get about that.
in-
So possibly in that neighborhood, we could put something out on their Facebook page about what's exactly going on, so that
oh,
we just make everyone aware, because caution tape really gets people quite,
Oh, sure.
you know,
Mhm.
concerned.
Yes,
So.
Good.
Yeah,
this is worth communication.
Mhm.
This is certainly,
so then Arlen, do you want to talk to Abel? To point him toward Doug?
will do.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else on that part of item 12? Okay, and then 12B is update on borrowing for the road construction and also equipment. And I don't- What angle are we taking on this exactly?
I did put on your plate, oh my gosh, I'm hungry. I did put on your table, there was, messages back and forth today about budget numbers for Raven Oaks and then Sun Valley Parkway. And so that's on the sheet of paper that.
Can I address that? Because I think I kind of opened up this can of worms and not intentionally. Really, not intentionally, but, I made a phone call to Doug Cena. And my message was, I kind of really wanted to find out how they handled when they did Hampton Hills, with there's only 2 entranceways and doing it all at one time, and how residents getting in and out and whatever. Actually, they did a total repaving. It was not chip sealing, and they did a total repave over there. And he said it was not bad because they came in one day and did one thing and one day and did the other. But on my message, I was asking him that, and I said, because we're thinking about doing some chip sealing in Raven Oaks. And so we just did a lot back and forth, voicemail instead of actually talking to each other. And he said, yeah, chip sealing works well, except people don't like it, but tell you what, I'll drive through your neighborhood and see what I think. And so then the last message I got is he said, it's too far gone, don't do it that way.
Okay, we have parts in there that are,
But he said even to go do the whole thing, and so this is maybe some point, and I talked to Abel because I wanted to give him a heads up, and I said I was gonna be bringing this up here, so I think some of this, before we decide what we're gonna do, we need to check it more carefully. There's a lot of questions, because we're getting 2 different views on it.
At least, I think at least 2. I think there've been.
at least, you have the tours that we took through there.
Right.
Said that this is something that at this Hazer rating that it's at.
Right.
It was still eligible for chip seal. There were some that certainly were losing edges that would definitely benefit from wedging.
Right.
No doubt about that, but as far as rebuilding the whole thing, I don't think there's, that's gonna take a lot of talking.
I agree, but I think it's something that we still need to talk about, because I think the people in the neighborhood, and there aren't that many that are complaining, they understand the budget. And if we looked into it more carefully, maybe talk to Doug, maybe had somebody else look at it. If we told people, you know, we aren't gonna be able to afford it for a few years, but we are gonna redo the whole thing, like was done in Hampton Hills. I don't know, but I just kind of red flags went up for me to say, should we really go through and do chip sealing now if it's gonna be a big expense? I mean,
Well, it's, the point is that it's a lot less expensive.
oh, I know that, but I'm just telling you, here's a person, their engineering department,
Mhm.
their main scope is roads.
Mhm.
And so I'm sort of wanting to listen to a little bit what he said.
Mhm.
So it's just before I thought that we go ahead, okay, we're gonna start on Raven Oaks, we maybe need to find out more information, find out our plan, and that wasn't what I was asking him to do at all, but this is the information that he came back with.
As not directly related, but kind of, I really see somebody like a JT Engineering in our future as actually being under contract with us. We're relying on Doug a lot. over the last few months and other people. And it would be good to have a consistent opinion, one that we understand. And then some kind of process for evaluating each road that's, and I know that there already is, I know that there's already a informal process more or less, but something that loops in engineering, something that loops in. Like the opinion of the one guy that Abel works with, who doesn't really do the type of road work that we care about, but just gives his opinion on conditions. You know, something where we can, almost like a checklist, here, we did this,
Yeah.
this and this, here's where we're gonna place this road. On the schedule over the next 5 years, here's what we think it might cost, here's what the scope of the
I
repairs will
use
be.
chip sealing because a year ago, or was it 2 years ago, like probably 2 years ago, I rode around with Scott, paving. And we did road on Judd Road and we rode through my neighborhood and then he, told me about how wonderful the chip sealing is and that it would work. And, went and looked at some areas where they did it because I was in touch with him. So I'm not against it, but it's all of a sudden, I'm hearing a different point of view. And, when you drive around with Scott, they're gonna say it's wonderful. Because it's their business.
Okay, well, if you have,
And I'm not saying it's.
and we do have a couple of the road experts on the road and safety committee as well.
Mhm.
And they were very, very much in favor of the seal coating, the chip sealing. So,
Well, the note from Arlen said that Arner said, yeah, it's right borderline, maybe you're better just waiting till it gets a
okay,
little worse.
and if you're looking through the different roads, there's a basket, there's a bunch of different conditions, some are better, some are not so good.
Oh, I know.
So it's not a consistent, the whole thing is gotta be rebuilt. And I'd be a little reticent right now to be rebuilding that.
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying we've got some new information. Maybe we need a little more before we make up our minds what to do, like what you just talked about.
Okay, well, we've got, I was looking at the decision to be moving forward on projects to be made in February. And using February as a point of, this is what we're going to be doing, these are the approximate budgets that we're dealing with, and let's get the bids, let's get this out to bid to be doing this. So somewheres, there's different, the chip sealing everywhere and some wedging in specific areas defined
Mhm.
is one. So I'm a little, I don't have a report from JT here, so we got your email. That'd be interesting.
No,
to
it
be
was an
looking at.
email that was from, because I talked to Abel this morning, because I just wanted to let him know.
Yeah, and we've
What,
got,
and, I mean, I wasn't stepping on your toes, but,
no, we get this email here. Or this is
yeah,
what
that's what I
email.
saw, because I called Abel, and then after I talked to Abel, he went and opened up and looked to see how much it was gonna cost for wedging and the chip sealing. So
Mhm.
now it's a lot more than we thought originally in that.
Right,
Yeah,
and these are, this is not gonna be surprising information
right,
that we're gonna be having the new information.
Right.
And tough decisions.
yeah, yeah.
To be made, but this is still a far cry from replacing the whole, rebuilding the whole road. It's a far cry from it.
Right.
If you just take the Raven Oaks, that's 3 miles, 3.12 miles. So that is twice the length of Alpine.
I understand
Yeah.
that, I understand that, but are we gonna say, oh, we shouldn't have done this, because now we have to do it over again, so I'm just not 100% sure it's the right thing.
Okay.
And I mean, it was just this information just
Right.
came to me.
Count on, well, here, time flies, it really does. You are going to be doing the work over again, because things need maintenance. So if we have something that has to have something happen every 5 to 7 years.
Okay, I just,
or
you know,
every 20 years.
that I got this from a person that's an
Okay.
expert
Then let's get a process going here. We have some questions on if we have targeted our first group there. Netherwood has been the top on that top of the list for a couple of years. Because it has been. Does it have to be? Don't know. Is it does the Raven Oaks and Hobby Horse is not in good shape either.
I think
Purcell stinks. But we're
Well,
also
Purcell,
doing.
that's my other question, because half of that road is owned by, so why don't we wait till we can do it together rather than doing half of the road? It just doesn't seem.
It's possible.
That last year, did they do first off?
No.
They didn't?
No,
No.
Okay, 'cause they do that in their schedule too. I know they
They
do.
do?
Yeah, they do, because they called me, but they must not have done the road. I thought they did their part.
no, they just.
Okay.
Oh,
I think the way to go from this point. I think the way to go now is to push back to the road committee. And,
Okay.
and just really probably more or less, prioritization for 2024
Mhm.
with justification for why, here's why, this is the one we need to do first, the second, third, and whatever the list is. Because we won't figure it out here tonight without having, and it may require like reaching out to, I mean, the guys on your committee are great. I don't know if we've got Doug Cena in the mix here all of a sudden. I don't know if that means really maybe even contracting with him. But to ask him to
Well,
sort out
that can
to,
be part of that mix too, is to be getting that.
Yeah.
If we are looking for that recommendation, or if we have enough recommendation. And so, we've got, it's sort of centering around, Raven Oaks.
I'm not saying that.
You don't know, I'm not either. I'm just wanting that we do it right. I don't care when you do Raven Oaks. I'm not saying this because I live there. I happen to walk it a lot. And I just, but I'm not saying because I live there, I want it done. If you have to put it off 5 years, I'm fine.
And I particularly do not want to have anybody think that either Kate or I are pushing Raven Oaks.
The optics would not, there's not good.
They would not be good at all. And so even in some previous meetings, I said, no. Arm's length for me, I'm deferring to your committee.
I do
Okay,
think
then-
you should
then let's-
ask Purcell. I do think somebody should call City of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
About Purcell before you do it. And I also would say the same thing with Netherwood. I think
Yes.
someone should look into the village.
Yes.
I got that too.
Yeah, and there might be some, I know that your neighbor, Steve, for the life of me, Lauren,
Mhm.
had sent me some information about Netherwood and potentially some,
There's
you know.
potential grants.
Yes,
She
yeah,
sent
right.
things.
That's why Netherwood to me would seem like it's a grant worthy road. And Lauren identified it as
Who's
one.
it? Why is Netherwoods grant worthy? Because
It's, what is it called?
It's,
Oh, the.
Find her email again.
yeah, worth.
Well, a lot of it is with the new communities going up there with the extension of Bergamot. I mean, most of the traffic is coming out of the village, and that Netherwood has increased exponentially in the last 10 years as far as traffic.
But can you find what that other thing was, which I think,
Yeah.
I mean, is this if you're talking about multiple municipalities?
no, well, that's not what the M word is. though.
It's like
No, but it's
NMPO.
long
or
end.
something.
STP rural, STP local. I have to find the one, but she specifically was referencing. Netherwood.
Because if you
Yeah.
remember, Wayne automatically was just gonna go ahead and do it without even asking the board.
The Netherwood?
Yeah, and he got it all ready to go, and we said, no, wait, we need
Yeah.
the board to approve it before you can do that, and then this other possibility. Yeah,
Okay, so this is the first time I've heard of a granting possibility for Netherwood.
The second is a new STP local grant letting opportunity, so road construction projects. It looks like the town has a couple of roads, including Netherwood, that would be eligible. I know that the town looked at possibly applying for some BIL funding grants back in June. Jeff and I did see a presentation on these projects. I'm just gonna forward
If you
everyone
would,
this email. And she's very nice, so you could reach out to her.
Okay.
Yes.
Can anybody remember the M word?
Is it an acronym? Like,
No, I don't think. I-
oh, okay.
Okay, so I thought we had a seven, so we had, we're kind of, mixing up.
Like that, yeah, Madison area, planning area, something, whatever, so
Oh,
it's.
MPO, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oh, MPO.
So it's Madison or Metropolitan Planning
Yes.
Organization,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So-
but I think they do.
They say that this is a grantable item?
No, we're saying that, so remember how we were talking about Union Road being in part of this planning area, not the whole town of Oregon is in
Yeah.
this planning area. We think Netherwood is in that planning area. Because it's closer to the village of Oregon.
So MPO planning area, how do we find out,
It's, I can show you the map.
okay, if this is something that can be tracked down quickly? I love chasing strings that are waving
This
around.
was brought up another time, I can't remember what
Yeah,
we're talking about, so it's a couple times we brought it up.
It could have been carp seed.
I mean, there was a
Presentation
bike,
or something.
there is a bicycle lane
Right,
Well, that's
on
it's-
Netherwood.
It's, well, I'm uncertain enough about MPO.
That's starts in the village.
I don't know, yeah.
If, okay.
Why don't we make that homework?
Yeah,
Look up
why don't we-
MPO and,
yeah.
what group they already.
I know, well,
If Jennifer, if I can touch base with you as to how to find these connections.
Yeah.
One, we have a conversation with Pittsburgh. If you can say, who is the person to be contacting there? I will, I was had on my pickle list after this meeting to be talking to Jeff Rao and and Phil Van Campen on the Netherwood, or just Jeff?
Netherwood, I would talk to Jeff Robb.
Yeah, just so
Philip Austin.
will do. So because they had that on the after this meeting list. Anyway, so let's, oh, we got colored maps.
Control
Our
and zoom in.
your group meeting again.
Middle.
I'm sorry?
When is your road and safety group? meeting again, or you-
Well, it was, we had sort of said we're done for the year.
Okay.
So now this would be calling them back in.
Well, I'm
So-
not saying you should, but one thing that I would appreciate is, you've done a great job. I know you did a lot of work in this, and I mean that truthfully. And I don't know how I'm gonna feel about whatever we decide on next, whether it's following or not, I don't know, but the next time you do, and if it's February, that's fine. Could you prioritize if we did everything that you think is necessary? Or could you also do one where, okay, we're only gonna spend what's in our budget? And what they would prioritize
Well,
spend,
that right now is,
but now things have sort of changed, because with the questions we brought
yeah,
up.
well,
today.
that's also part of the thing is that there was a constant question on their part saying, well, what's our budget?
Okay,
Well, it might be, I mean, unless like roads 1, 2, 3, like each one is way over 150,000. It may just be the same order.
right, but
Not
even,
likely,
for
but-
Raven Oaks, if we do the chip sealing and the wedging, is gonna come a lot more than we thought, so then.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
It would be a good comparison.
Yeah,
So I mean, if there's a number out of the air to be saying, and I'd be recommending that there's something in the 250 to 300 range annually to be putting into major road projects.
if that's what we're going to be hoping for, then we need to say that at the public hearing on
Mhm.
Thursday, that that's.
Would be, yes,
And I think we will say,
Not
that-
all of us have agreed on that, so.
no, I think what we can say. Is that we have a number of road projects that are important to do as soon as possible. They're gonna cost more money that's in the budget. We're gonna decide which roads are involved in it and then finance through.
But this is where we need to get someone to say, these are the ones that have to be done as soon as possible,
We won't
not
know
us
it.
decide.
We won't know
That road.
Thursday.
Yeah,
We're not gonna know Thursday. So that,
Right.
yeah, you know, so it can be a general statement, but we'll know after there's a little bit more
but I mean,
analysis.
the
of
whole
line
board
items.
has still not decided how we feel about going from what's in the budget and doubling it.
No, right, so the process would have to be a budget amendment if we all agree on whatever we
Yes.
think the final road should be. So it's all, there's no time pressure for the existing 2024 budget. When we get to a consensus on, or at least a majority vote on whatever the road projects are, then we can move forward. And so you vote what you vote what you vote. But we have to get those pieces together first.
Okay, we've got a bunch of the pieces, we have a lot of the pieces together. There's a lot of work to be done. And it's gotta get started. And so now we've got some tasks here. To be throwing in some of the additional information on the wedging as well as the seal coating.
Mhm.
And we have a conversation, so you're gonna send me the thing from Fitchburg for Purcell.
I can see.
The
I can
contact,
ask
the
Gable.
contact.
Yeah, I can ask Gable, or I can look it up. Yep.
Okay,
Let's move on to the next one if we can. No other comments, anybody else on full day? Okay, 12B, an update on borrowing for road construction and equipment, sort of talking about it a little bit already. Jennifer, did you want to talk about the page 39? Is that your?
Sure. Do you
Or
want
is
me
that
to?
a-
So, I mean.
I mean, I don't
whatever
know
you
that,
want.
actually, I don't know that we need to, because if the order of road repairs is uncertain. Then. I'm not sure the history. Well, you tell me.
Okay, I'll just explain it. If you're looking at page 39, I'll just explain what this is meant to showcase. If it's meant to tell you what we've done is in 2023, we borrowed money to repair Alpine. That 2023 loan will replace the 2020 loan. So if you look at the very first yellow line, you'll go to the payback column, and you'll see 2022, 2023, and 2024. So those are the 3 years we're gonna be making that payback amount of 88,000. So every year we're making 88,308 as a payback. That will end next year. So our last payment of 88,000 will happen in 2024. In 2025, we will be picking up, 2025, we will be picking up the Alpine Road loan, and that payment's gonna go up to 139,483. So
Mhm.
we owe it, but we won't start paying until after 1. So then we have a 2021 loan. Our payment years are 23, 24, 25, and that payback amount is 115. So you're gonna wanna think about what you're going to want to replace that loan with. And you're going to wanna replace that loan in starting in year 2026 to replace that loan. So you are kind of talking about two different things sometimes, if you're talking about a new loan or you're talking about replacing a loan. We want to make sure we're replacing our loans. And that's what this is meant to show. That's how we've done it. Any questions about that? And that, generally we're taking our loans out for about, 3 years, or a payment of 4 years, but it's been in 3 installments essentially. And they're from the Bureau of Public Lands. And the Bureau of Public Lands, you have to have a minimum of a 2-year loan. Loans are just a one-time payment. It's not a monthly type thing. You make a yearly payment, and that's due in March.
What's the maximum term that they would go?
So they'll go, I think, up to 10 years. They'll go
Okay.
longer if it's like a building.
Right.
So like our Brooklyn Fire and EMS, I think that might be a 20 or 30-year loan for something like that. So they do have qualifying for going with a longer term,
And roads, we've typically done
between 3 and 4.
3 payments.
Yeah.
You have first payments out a year.
Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah. Like you can see the one where I kind of crossed it out, that was a 4-year and we made 4 payments.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
it kind of depends on the timing you're taking out the money.
Right.
Is that the 3-year for these the loans on the road? Is that we've always done it that way? Or is there a,
I mean, loans are relatively new to the town of Oregon, so you have to remember that. So nothing is like maybe normal or, historically, but that's what we've done. That's when they started to
Okay.
take out loans. And the idea is you're gonna have a year, you're gonna do a really big project. Then you're gonna kind of have some down years. Then you're gonna replace that loan and do another big project, a paving project. Then in the off years, you're gonna do some maintenance work, then another big project. That's kind of how they work it, which is kind of why they have that 3-year rotation. So basically, every 3 years, you'd be doing a bigger project.
Mhm.
And that's something we'll want to watch with, like an estimated mill rate and how it affects any residents' payments, here's what it'll increase for every $100,000 of value, something like that. And be aware that, if the numbers look big, then be aware that maybe we need to dial back if necessary. It just, just common sense stuff. All right, any other questions for Jennifer on that? Thank you. On 13, Public Works reports.
Just mention one thing, I'm sorry.
Sure.
The equipment on page 38, the major need would be is the guys would like to order a plow truck. And their plow truck is coming about 10 years, I think they said, so that would be the next piece of expensive equipment.
The 200, and, what did you say about 10 years?
They like to replace a plow truck every 10 years.
Oh, okay.
And it's coming up in 10 years. They were doing it on 7 years and they kind of pushed that back to 10 years. So I think that there's the one that's the 10-year is coming up.
Okay, got it. All right.
So, but that's an extension from the original stuff.
Are they still working on, yeah, already, I think April and Ryan are gonna work on Friday for the others, and then also an estimate on trading from the existing. That'll be helpful once we get that to you. All right, was that for the update?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Item 14 is a building inspection report, and this is a review of the ordinance that starts on page 40. It's still pending attorney review, so I think it's just for our information.
Oh, I apologize. The update on equipment was also, so in the budget, I had put that we were going to get money from the sale of equipment. The in-loader. They said it would be more beneficial for you to put the in-loader on the surplus before the end of the year, so because people are looking for it at this time point. So their trade-in value was 30,000. They could set a minimum on the auction and it sold for 35 something. I don't have that exactly. They came and picked it up. And so the people that we're buying the in-loader from are giving us a rental to help us bridge that gap until the new one comes in.
Super.
So that was the update. Sorry.
Excellent, thank you.
On that. So so let me explain. The ordinance that you have about the building inspection. Tony, we contract through Safe Built for our building inspection. Tony, we had a riding arena and he went out there to do an inspection and the state person was there. And the state person said, you don't have like jurisdiction. We had a while ago passed something that would allow him to do, I want to say, electrical maybe. And he's like, came back and he's like, you have to adopt this new one so I can do the inspections for these commercial buildings. So then we were getting a little bit talking because we're going to do some work here. And he's like, I can't do it. The town has to adopt these ordinances that allow our municipal building inspector to do these kind of inspections. So,
Commercial inspections.
yes.
He can do residential inspections under previous ordinances.
Right, but when I started to look, our ordinances are very old. They've not been updated. When I started to look at other municipalities, the ordinance that I have in front of you was basically taken from a lot of different, so they've updated it to this. You read our current ordinance, really what we want to do is we just want to reference back to what the code is. We don't want to rewrite the code in our ordinance because then it changes and then it's not. So I think it's a good idea to find areas and then update our ordinances as they go, because so what I'm recommending is that we would send this to Larry and have him look at it. And then that way it would update our current ordinance, and then it would allow our building inspector to do the commercial inspections that we would like him to do. Getting the state inspector, it takes more time. That makes the residents have to wait.
And so this came about with this project.
It actually came about because of this riding arena situation. And Tony was like, I went out there and he didn't realize he couldn't do these inspections until he realized I can't do them. And so then he talked with the state guy, and then through Safe Built, they said, this is what the town has to adopt to do commercial inspections.
So right now, we're looking for a motion to get it, send it to Larry.
Yeah, if you want to, yeah, that's
Or
what.
do we need a motion to that effect, or?
No, the vote is not noticed in this one.
No,
So we'll probably just an informal
Yeah.
agreement.
And then say that once we get then it would go on the December maybe, or January, depending on Larry's
Could
timeline.
we- Well, I guess
It's just
I'd be up if you're just giving a consensus to,
Yeah, if there,
send this to Attorney Beckler.
right, if there's no objection, we can just send it to him.
Okay,
So if there, any objection at all, okay, then I think we can even do it unanimous.
Yeah,
consent. So
You just got my attention that, where did this come from?
yes, yeah, it was a conversation that came from remodeling methods, but it really came
Right.
from this riding arena situation where we were just like, oh, wow, we didn't know that was. And I don't think the state really wants to do it because it's very big and.
where did this draft come from?
So.
Somebody else's document?
Like a bunch, it came originally from Safe Built had sent like a copy.
Yeah.
And then I just went out and I looked at other municipalities, and really this was pretty much verbatim other municipalities. I can't remember the one that I took it from, but
Yeah.
they all were the same. They all were kind of.
Yeah.
Could I ask
Yeah.
a question about the first section? Item D. I was trying to understand this, where it says replacement of major building equipment, including furnaces and central air conditioners. So does that mean when we buy a new furnace, we have to have a building
It would be,
inspect? At my home,
Yes,
I would have to have an inspection.
well, yeah,
Cause we
The
bought
kind-
a new furnace a while ago. I don't remember that being.
There are even
inspected.
some on the,
Maybe we did. I just wanted to make sure that this applied to homes. I
Yeah.
can see it where it's a large business concern, something like that.
when you hire an electrician has to take out a
Okay,
building
and so
permit.
they do it already. They just sort of do
It's
it
just-
in a matter of.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
just
some
didn't
places
know.
don't,
They-
you're saying some places you don't always maybe regulate everything. I'm not an expert in this area, so we could ask Larry.
Yeah, I just don't,
What-
didn't
whether-
understand that.
Whether the building inspector comes out. That's another thing. Because some of it is,
Just
especially
doing the
with
paperwork.
local building. With local contractors, there's often a trust factor that
Okay.
they're
Okay.
qualified to be
Sure.
doing,
Sure.
or they have to be qualified to do the work in the first place.
right. Lori, you see lots of examples on the building permits list.
Yeah.
Oh,
So even,
okay,
even if it's
yeah.
like, there's at least one furnace, I don't know what, so.
And so what I didn't, the part I missed was that it was sort of automatically provided by the whoever installs it. It's
And
just,
you
it's
might
just
not have
almost
done
like,
it.
it's almost like a formality.
Like
kind
a lot of
thing.
times if someone buys like a door replacement through Home Depot,
Yeah,
it's like a go permits is like the person that takes out the permits here. So it just must happen kind of behind the scenes sometimes, I think, maybe even when the customer doesn't.
okay. Right, that was all I wanted to ask.
Okay, so that's good to go to there.
Yeah. Do it.
And then, should say, we didn't have it as an agenda item, but on page 44 are the previous, numbers, just long. You said didn't see it on the agenda.
It was under 14 building inspection
Oh.
report permits,
Okay,
and then I added an A for that.
let's see, where are we here? Okay, number 15, board communication. We've got a couple things. Upcoming meetings are listed there for 15A. On page 45 is the list of proposed holidays. So if anybody, does anybody have objections to that list? I think it floated around previously, but I'm not really sure. It's clear, if I remember right, we had Juneteenth. We had some personal days in lieu of federal holidays. And I think that was it.
Yeah, the Martin Luther King and
Oh, that's
Juneteenth were added, and then took away Good Friday, because felt like that was maybe more of a, not a religious, and so then added a personal day in lieu of that, and any kind of like federal holidays, something like that. Otherwise, the rest stayed the same. So the village did Martin Luther King and Juneteenth last year, or the year before, I think, I can't remember.
Right.
This would just be bringing up to speed for this one.
Any objections to this list? Okay, without objection, the list of the holiday schedule is approved for, I guess, just not 2024, but ongoing. 15B, review of the non-torque part of the fee schedule. And that is back on a different page.
Page 16.
50.
No, 16.
One second. Any suggestions for fee changes or fee removals? I don't have any. And I don't think there are any pressing issues with the fees as they are.
The only one that I had brought up before was the right-of-way permits
That's true. We did bring that up.
that we have, right now, there's no charge for utility, the TDSs and the Frontiers and whoever else wants to do something in the pitches. They just come in and fill out a permit. Public Works has recommended that there be not only for the utilities, but also for somebody who is coming in for a driveway permit, that there be a $1,000 deposit. Right, not a fee, but a deposit, damage deposit to be put onto new driveways. Or anything that crosses the right of way or uses the right of way, such as utilities and the what is it, all our fiber optics or the things that are supposedly being put in the ditches. They're having trouble with where work is incomplete. Work is needing to be repaired. And they would like to have the folks who are doing the damage to fix it. Or be paying for $1,000 so that Abel and Ryan can fix it. And that has to do with sloppy driveway installations. As well as the public utilities, which again, they're putting little things in the middle of the ditch that get mowed off. They get mowed off, they're damaged.
So I think we've talked about the concept before.
Yes.
Yeah, and I did not look at what you had sent from the Towns Association as far as whatever steps are involved to put a right of way.
Well, I
Deposit
think
place.
there's two things. I think there's a fee. and then there's a deposit, but
Right.
either way, you're gonna have to formulate words on a piece of paper of what you want that to look like, such as what the amount is, how you're gonna charge it, who's inspecting it, what you're looking to have cleaned up or not done, and how they're going to get it back or not going to get it back. I think
Right.
I think it's a great idea, but I think there's just a lot more that you have to do behind that before you can just say, oh, we're gonna put a fee on a piece of paper.
And I don't think we'll make it for January 1st. Which is okay. I mean, we can bring this as an amendment to the fee schedule later in the year.
Sure.
But, so that I think is probably the
Yeah.
reality of it. So we don't really need to sort it out 100% tonight. But I think, well, I'm in favor of it. I think it's a good idea. I think it would have been a great idea 5 years ago or longer to have something like this too. So I think we can make it happen. But unless the committee gets back together again and wants to tackle it's not really an ordinance. Would it be an ordinance?
Yeah, I mean, you would have a
We're gonna-
written ordinance and you would have, then you could add it as a deposit or a fee or whatever you want to do. I will say that I think a lot of municipalities are taking it up, so there's probably some standard language that you could look at from other people, because we're not the only community struggling with this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, but
So I think it's a good idea.
it would seem like we should have at least a approval of the concept. Minimally that, and then it's how do we get the, and is this a fee or is this a deposit? Is that different?
Whatever you're asking for, that's what it would be.
It's a damage deposit. Deposit.
I think that if you read what the Wisconsin Towns Association said, you're gonna really want to look at that and look it over. Because you can't just charge fees, it has to be related to something. So,
The damage, I mean,
It-
the
it-
deposit you can ask for, but you have to match what you take out of the deposit to whatever the damage.
And the
is.
number has to have some validity to it, okay,
Right.
why 1,000?
you're
Oh,
right.
I-
10,000, I mean.
Yeah.
come on.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
no, I think that's a great idea, I think, but
So thousands were short, you and I.
I think it's way short in my mind, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell you why, but
Okay, well, this is also a question to be putting to Public Works. Cause there's certainly what public utilities are doing down the right of way versus Mr. and Mrs. Jones, who just put a driveway in it, but did it very badly.
Mhm. So this is another one of those things where we can't necessarily vote on it tonight, but we can say informally,
it's a good.
go forward.
Go for it. Okay, now how do we go for it? You're seeing that there's other municipalities that are struggling with this and there is some model things maybe out there.
I would
Maybe.
assume.
You
I would
just don't, we
assume,
just
yeah.
don't. it's
I-
kind of tracking them down.
Into it, but I've seen other ones, they've struggled.
Okay,
And I would say Town of Cottage Grove would be one to look at. I think they would, they're pretty good. So, yeah, I think there's something out there.
okay, and
I don't think we're reinventing the wheel.
we have a motion from the Road and Safety Committee that says do it.
Not a motion, but informal direction.
A formal direction, well, a
Mhm.
motion from the committee. There was a motion from the committee to do it, to recommend to the board to have this damage deposit.
So, okay, so. Okay.
That action has
That's
been
fine.
taken.
But what I'm saying, I'm just saying that there was not a vote here. There was
Not a vote here.
there's not a formal vote here, it was just an
Correct.
informal
Yes,
guidance.
move forward.
Mhm.
Put some words on a piece of paper of how you want that to look like. So then the board can approve that.
And we shall snuggle up to our tablets and see what we can do.
Right, any other comments or questions on the rest of the fee schedule? And we do not need to vote on anything related to the fee schedule tonight. So it's really just a review.
Okay, and I'm going to be checking with Able too, since this is a formal thing that they do in the town of Albany. To see if they have something already written. Or not, or just an informal policy.
Okay, item number 15C, update of the town hall office remodel. Has nothing started yet.
No, I could ask Stephanie what if she's heard anything. You know, we were talking and, you know, if they started January 1 and they were able to get in and out of here, that probably would be most beneficial for us, least disruptive during tax collection. If that's, but I can't predict when Dan Hefty is gonna come, so.
Have they given any hint?
mm-mm. Mm-mm. I can ask Stephanie, but I don't think so.
Okay.
I would assume that this is deer hunting season too, so,
Coming up.
yeah,
Thursday.
so.
Construction and deer hunting season are
Mhm,
synonymous.
mhm. But it sounds like the construction itself won't take very long. So, and I think they were trying to line everything up in a row to be done, so. Like they're thinking 6 weeks, like just for carpeting, that's really putting us into that January time slot anyways. So I think January, that's what I'm thinking. And then that would be up and running, hopefully then we'd be up and running for the February section.
What time do you need to take, to get stuff out of the office and wherever it's gonna go
Well,
before you start?
who's gonna help us? The guy is gonna help us, really,
Well, you,
it'll be fine. I don't know, a while, like, I would say it'd probably take us a week to do it in between our other tasks, to put things in boxes. I don't know, I've never done it before.
right. I wonder if, like two men in a truck or something, somebody like that would be able to help. You'd have to box things up that you need to have.
There, so I think it's gonna be like, what we'd like to do is like, maybe get like maybe Stephanie's son or somebody like that. We'd load the boxes, isn't that the best thing? And then somebody with more back power can just move the boxes over here in the
Yeah.
corner and just start stacking.
Yeah.
That's what we're thinking. And then,
Okay.
so I think we were gonna like just wait till we kind of had a time, then we'd start boxing up, or when we have it. Once I get the levy and the mill rate all done, but I'll be more free.
Yeah, you and Stephanie do not have to be the ones to box everything and carry things, you know,
That's what we would.
you really could avoid that stuff. But you know what I mean, like, don't,
But you kind of want to organize it your own way and know
Yeah.
where the boxes go in and.
Yeah. You got a little like, right, attentive person here, so there's a little bit, talk to Ryan and Abel. Give you the lowdown.
well, yell for help when you need help. Anything else on the remodel?
I don't have anything.
Okay, 15D then is review of the budget. And it's in the packet.
Well, I didn't put the budget itself in the packet,
We've got some,
but I put a bunch of information in there so that you guys could start to see. So I was just gonna draw your attention. Oh, no, I did put the budget in there. I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, so starting on page 46. This is what the levy limit worksheet looks like.
this is final.
No, it's not final. Okay, there's nothing final yet, but this is, so. I apologize, I should have highlighted where I added numbers. It comes pre-filled. Everything comes pre-filled. The only line 9 is the only line in section A that I'm able to enter something into.
Mhm.
And line 9 has to equal, excuse me, on page 47. The very bottom line U, total adjustments, it doesn't have a total because this is not final, this is just my working document. Has to equal that. So those are the only, that page 47, those are the only additions and subtractions we can make to our levy. So as you can see, we add the debt service. So that's how much we're making in loan payments. That's not how much we're in debt, it's just the loan payments we're making. We had an increase because of the Brooklyn fire. We can take that difference. And then we have a decrease because of the annexation of that property over by Fox. Anybody have any questions about the levy limit worksheet? Okay, so then page 48 was just Martin telling me that 590 for the annexation that's gone through. it's kind of a last minute thing, but we'll be able to take that. Page 49 was just pointing to you that 302, 480, that's what's making up that amount of money is the loan payments. We've got the Oregon Fire capital equipment, we have to replay that. We have the Brooklyn Fire building loan. We have the 2020 road work, and then we have the 2021 road work. And then, like I said, the 2023 road work, we took out the loan, but we're not making a payment next year. So that gets us to that 302 that we're making in loan payment. The next page, page 50, was just to reflect that we have a 1-year loan through Lake Ridge Bank for that Oregon capital equipment, and that was just the schedule. So 1-year loan. So again, we can't, Bureau of Public Lands, you can't take out 1-year loans, you have to take them in year 2+. We've gone through the budget, so we can just kind of skip through to page 55. So 55 is again my working document, which I hate putting working documents, but I felt like with everyone being kind of new, I'd like to just do that so I could kind of explain what's going on here. So the first line is Dane County. Dane County has not approved their budget yet, so I don't have what their requested levy is. So waiting, that's why it says not available. So I do not know what the mill rate yet will be for Dane County. Going to the town of Oregon. So our levy is that 1,179,293. That assessed value of 492,515. I will show that to you later in the packet. That's the number that's given to us from the Department of Revenue. You divide that into each other, that gets us that mill rate of 0.0023944431. The number that's underneath it would be the one that was from the previous year. So the requested levy, the assessed value, and then the mill rate. That's the previous year. Now, when you go to Oregon School District, you'll see that their requested levy is the 5,843. You'll see that their assessed value is not, it's because we have 2 school districts. So we have Oregon and Belleville. So not that whole 492,515 assessed value, that's not all in the Oregon School District. So that's the 2 numbers. And then that comes out with their mill rate. Same thing for Belleville, MATC. And then, so the one information I learned was that state of Wisconsin put a lot of money into the school credit, a lot of money. I won't get that, I'll show you later, until November 20th. So I can't finish my mill rate, I can't finish it until I get that. But I'm hopefully that will be really good news for our town, especially because last year a lot of people saw that big hit from the school district credit. So let's keep our fingers crossed that that state school credit is going to be something really fantastic. So once I get the remaining numbers, I will finish this all out and we'll have a better idea what the total mill rate is. But for the town of Oregon, you know, I think I sent out an email, it's about $7 per $100,000. So that's what it's going. So it's there's going to be very insignificant increase from the town. So that next page on page 56, I guess. I just wanted to show you where I'm getting some of these numbers from. So you can see at the very end, that assessed value, that 492,515 that I was talking about, that's where I get the number from. And then if you turn to the next page, which is 58, you'll see where then they break up the school district of Belleville and the school district of Oregon. And that's where I get those numbers from, what portion is in each of those. When we say we're at this assessment ratio of 0.75, that would be at the bottom of page 56. It will say the assessment ratio of estimated fair market value. And again, all of this is, you know, coming back from the Department of Revenue that has reviewed all this, given this all. Okay, that was kind of a lot. So the rest of it is just me wanting to show you guys what I get from the school district and, you know, when I'm starting to plug in to get the final mill rate, what I get from them. So what I really get from them is how much they want, what their levy is. And I have to plug it in with the information I'm given from the Department of around the assessed value. So those next few pages are just more information of what it looks like, so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. Again, I don't have Dane counties yet, so still waiting. And so you got Belleville and Oregon and Madison College. And then the next page on page 69 is just kind of I just wanted to say November 20th is when I'll start to know there's also the first dollar credit. There's a lottery and gaming credit. I don't know those amounts. I'll get those on November 20th. And again, that will be when I can finally start to put that mill rate together, you know what. And then at that point, we'll look at, you know, usually I'll look at something that you guys have, you know, your value, and I'll usually multiply it out and see what everyone's doing for tax. Any questions on that? It was just, that's more information than nothing to decide a task, but.
It's a lot of work. Anything else?
No, but if you, I think that was,
That was it for, you segue into your report.
oh, yeah.
Yep.
So, then segueing into, we paid all the loans again, this year was 265, next year we have three. That $40,000 extra loan payment is because we're gonna fire, we took out 40,000 this year, they requested 80, so that's why our loan payment is going up $40,000. So I have, every year I do a slideshow on the budget. I pretty much wrapped that up this afternoon. What I was going to do was just send it out to all of you guys. You could take a look at it and just give me some feedback on what you want. So Thursday night, how it typically happens is there's a public hearing first, and that will be a presentation of the budget. Then there's no motions, there's nothing during that public hearing of the budget, just presenting it. Then you close that and you go into a special meeting of the electors. Then they pass the actual levy. So that 112,983 something, I have it memorized in my head. Then what we would do after, and this is a question I have for you guys. Your option is you have to pass the budget after you've done the hearing, okay? So you can choose to do it after they pass the levy. We could have just go into a special board meeting and you can adopt, or you can approve the budget. Otherwise, you could approve the budget at the December meeting. It doesn't matter to me what way you do it. You just have to do it before January 1. For the end of year, for December 31st, I should say. So, is there a preference? Everyone gonna be here Thursday night?
How long does Thursday night meeting last? If I remember right, it was not a long one.
It's not.
There was one, oh, I don't know if that's true. I was gonna say there was one person in the audience, but I don't know if that's right.
No, there was
Well,
more than that.
okay, I'm realizing that I have we're gathering at 6 o'clock, I believe.
Yes,
Oh,
Are we?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've got
Okay.
6 on, yeah.
And I have, my grandson is doing a solo at the orchestra at the middle school at 7 o'clock.
Okay,
I would like to go to that,
absolutely.
or I will walk out the door.
I don't anticipate anything taking very long, and if you want to take a bunch of slides out of I won't be offended. So I just do it to fill air, to fill space. So I took out a bunch today that I thought were, so
Mind numbing.
just try to fill space of trying to explain it, but you're exactly right. You don't know who's going to be here. So, but I don't anticipate, I was hoping it wouldn't take more than 45 minutes to get through the whole.
Yes.
And even you guys meeting as a board and approving the budget, I do anticipate
You
that.
don't have to do that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you could do it in February.
Just a word.
I'm
December.
I'm good for December.
Okay.
So
December is fine.
Okay, then I will add it to that. Okay.
I
Whether
whether
we-
we, the first time, I don't wanna rush myself through anything.
If,
And then that way it would allow you to, you know,
is this one of those needs the 2/3 votes?
the budget itself,
Yeah.
no, that it's, I
Okay, I'm seeing in a couple of places where we,
still,
where we have this arcane thing of 2/3 vote.
I'll look, I don't know.
Okay, I'm
Well-
sorry. Keep moving on and
Yeah.
because I have some place I want.
Yes, yeah, I want to bring that up because that's an arcane thing. And if for some reason we have some missing people, that means that we have to have 2/3, we have to have 4 people. Which is more than a quorum to even.
And then we're gonna be here in December.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yes, yeah, I'll be here, so I'm just looking at this arcane thing
Yeah,
that may have to be addressed sometime. Either way, are we at,
I think we're at the end.
are we at, 17?
We are. And without objection, we're.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go home.
Hey, that's what I wanna see.
You don't want to eat anything?
I wanna eat it too, obviously.
Oh.
I don't